Welcome back to 110 Daily on the 110 Sports Network. Josh Doring, Chris Brown. Before we get out of here for the day, let's do some winners and losers from the weekend. Josh, who's your winner?
Maryland
The
got to win
Terps.
at got to win at Rutgers. That was their fourth straight victory. While all these other bubble teams continue to lose, their schedule remaining versus Michigan State, at Northwestern versus Penn State. I think they're in the tournament if they win out and take care of business in the Big Ten tournament and don't take a bad loss, and they should win these three games. So all of a sudden, they just got some weird wins early to keep that resume interesting, even though their record was bad, and now they're starting to pick up some wins against teams that they're probably better than
Yep.
and have plenty of opportunities to still do so. So they are in control of their destiny at this point.
Shouts to the Terps. And if you had told me, I we're probably pretty close to best case scenario for Maryland this year. Maybe not quite there, but pretty close to, based on what you lose after last season, right? You lose Anthony Cowan Jr., you lose Jalen Smith, you lose all of your two most important guys in a Big Ten like this. It's hard to win games. They've found a way to do it with considerable consistency, right? They're now 8-9 in conference, 14-10. I think that's a pretty quality season for Maryland considering the circumstances and what they lost. So shouts to the Terps. Chris, your winner.
Kansas with some nuance in there as well. The Jayhawk, the Jayhawks, of course. I'm not trying to make them out to be huge winners, but of course they were tumbling down the AP top 25 with a string of losses back in January, and things have been much better of late. But 4 of their 5 wins to open February were against teams with a combined 1 win in Big 12 play because they
Ouch.
faced Iowa State and Kansas State twice. So it's like, okay, yeah, they're winning again,
I
but
think Kansas State has 2 wins now. I think they
well,
just
now
won.
they do.
Yeah,
Now they
I'm
do.
just
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
just messing with you. They beat
Yeah, yeah.
TCU. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, they were winning games again, but that's because they were playing Iowa State and Kansas State twice. So what they did Saturday in defeating Texas Tech shows me, gives me more optimism that there is actually somewhat of a turning of the corner a little bit.
Yeah.
An impressive defensive showing, though. They held Mac McClung to 11 points. They showed how much better they are capable of playing. They've now won 5 in a row. Of course, not all 5 of those games being anywhere near equal, but the defense is showing up. They're more well-rounded offensively in their contributions, their scoring. Bill Self said he's the most excited. This is the most excited he's been about the team all year. They're getting some momentum. They're getting a little bit of confidence, but they have games at Texas and versus Baylor this week. So I hope that confidence is really going to help them. I hope that for their sake. I mean, I'm curious to see how this plays out. That's why I'm not trying to, hype them up as like, woohoo, they're back, they're great, they're fantastic in every way, and they're going to go to the Final Four. But it's going to be interesting to see now as there seem to have turned a corner, show what they're capable of doing, how it goes against Texas and Baylor this week.
You just don't want to play Kansas. You're just really sad if you're the 1 seed and you have to play a 5 seed Kansas. You just are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they keep this up.
Right, especially if you're going to have 5 players, all 5 starters in double figures, which is what they had against
Yeah.
Texas Tech. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it really is right. It's not quite like Kentucky in those years when they don't have it going at the beginning because those Kentucky teams typically have more talent than this specific Kansas team does. But if David McCormack's going to turn in 17 and 8 on 7 of 10 shooting and everybody else is going to pitch in a little bit and you got 5 guys in double figures, then I don't want to play Kansas in the tournament. All right, it's Kansas, it's Bill Self, and I feel bad for whoever the 4 seed hypothetically that has to play them if they end up only being the 5. Whoever the 1 seed is in the hypothetical Sweet 16 if Kansas wins 2 straight. All of those. Now they could have a really bad performance and lose to the 12 seed because the 12 seeds are always good. Right, the 12 seed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's still Kansas is still Bill Self, and at the end of the day, when they're in the tournament, I don't want to play them.
Mm-hmm.
My winner is college basketball fans and just the sport for getting what we got from Michigan and Ohio State yesterday. I think college basketball needed that a little bit. I think there's just a clear burst of energy and the conversation about the tournament and then the conversation about the Big Ten, about the tournament, the conference tournaments coming up, and it's being followed by this week where Michigan's going to play a couple good teams, and it's just it's sort of setting the stage for a really good week in college basketball. Like I said right at the top, that we've missed out on some of these. Kansas and Texas play this week. We've missed out on some really big games this year because of postponements and COVID and all of those things. But to get a game live up to the hype and have a game be as good as that was, college basketball, the sport, is a winner, and but also the fans for actually getting that game and it delivering the way that it did.
Yeah, any fans who might just be tuning in, sort of fair weather fans tuning into the season now to watch the final few weeks before March Madness, they got a good performance. They got something to keep them watching, and that's good because there've been some disappointments this season.
Josh, your loser.
My loser, similar to last week, is the Lake Tahoe NHL games.
Oh man, that was tough.
Yeah, this was rough.
This looked awesome. Yeah, it was so cool the way that this venue was set up and overlooking the water. And it was phenomenal. But for a sport that doesn't have many premier moments, you don't have an NCAA tournament to point to and sort of the build up to it as we get into late February and early March. You don't have a Super Bowl. You don't have a Daytona 500. You got the Stanley Cup playoffs, which are always phenomenal, and I think one of the more underrated playoffs in sports. But to sort of generate excitement during the regular season, these outdoor games are kind of it. Mm-hmm. And you're typically your New Year's Day games, right? There are a couple where they try and make it a little bit more interesting, and there's just something unique about taking a sport like this and transplanting it to Lake Tahoe. It's an awesome idea.
Yep.
It looked phenomenal. But when you're trying to market this at a specific time, and Nathan McKinnon, one of your bright young stars, scores a goal 9 hours after he had an assist in the same game, and then your second game had to be moved too. The first one because it was too nice outside, and the second one I think it was because of inclement weather.
Yeah. So
the Flyers and Bruins had to play last night. There was no way to keep track of what was happening because they couldn't advertise times because nothing went as it was supposed to. Mm. So it was a really good idea. This is awesome. And people were getting excited because of what it looked like. And you just lose all of that energy and that momentum when you have to delay a game and then move the other one, and it just kind of turned into a mess.
Yep.
So it's not anybody's fault. I just felt bad because this was a real opportunity for the NHL, and it just kind of fell apart.
Great opportunity, great idea, kind of fell flat. And maybe we should just stop having hockey games outside, because typically the Fenway one was cool, but then they tried to do one at, I think there was one at a Nissan Field in Nashville one year.
Yeah, the part of their sad one.
Yeah, it's just, maybe we should just stop having hockey games
so
outside.
Cool.
But are they? Have
cool
you ever come away from
it's...
one being like, I mean, they're your loser this week. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
that one was different too because of the setting. They need to play them there.
Sure.
As opposed to just in a football stadium.
Right. No, we need that's a good point. Let's put them find a frozen pond, sort of bring it back to the, right. It's the whole, that's why the Major League Baseball teams going to play in Williamsport is so cool. Mm-hmm. It's because this is where it all started. And for, frozen ponds with a couple barrels that you've turned on their side, this is where it started. Right. So, that's the idea. Definitely cooler and more attractive than just putting it in a football stadium where you can put more people there.
Right.
But unfortunate execution. Not that it was anybody's fault, but unfortunate nonetheless. Not Josh. Sorry, Chris. Who's your loser?
Yeah, Texas basketball. They led West Virginia.
Yeah,
not great. Not great. They led West Virginia by as many as 19 points in the second half at home, only to see that fall apart. And that's not great on its own. But then you have, just minutes in the second half, you have teammates, Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey, getting into an on-court dispute. They have to be separated. Immediately after that, West Virginia goes on a 34-18 run to close out the game. this Texas team is now 2-4 in conference play. They can't seem to get any momentum. They frankly can't seem to even beat any
They-
good teams right now because their last win that wasn't TCU or Kansas State was January 9th. Not
Man.
great.
Yeah, it is. They're the perfect example of why the Big 12 is so tough. But yeah, they're clearly 53 points in the first half of that game.
Mm-hmm.
But 29 in the second half, like you said, it just sort of all fell apart. And right there, luckily for Shaka Smart, they're not in any danger of missing the tournament, because if they were in a position where they needed to get a couple wins to make the tournament, I'd be selling Texas stock like crazy right now, because there's clearly not we've seen brighter days down there in Austin this season. Let's just put it that way. My loser is Tony Finau.
Yeah.
The guy can't get a win to save his life. 64 on Sunday at Riviera. 64. He had the as far as I know, he had the lowest round of the of Sunday by 2 strokes. And he still didn't get it. First of all, he needed Max Homa to miss a 3-footer on 18 to even get into a playoff. Tony Finau posts a 12 under, and then Max Homa just comes down, birdies 17 at Riviera, and then just sticks a wedge to 3 feet on 18, has that putt to win the tournament, misses that. On the first playoff hole, Tony Finau has drivable par 4 10th hole at Riviera, has hits a 3-wood 20 yards just short left of the green, has a very easy chip. Max Homa pulls his 3-wood a little bit, is up against a root next to a tree, and is able to basically turn the sand wedge sideways and get a shot on the green. Has 12 feet for birdie. Actually missed it. Tony Finau had a putt to win the tournament. He missed that one, but on the next playoff hole, Max Homa wins there. I feel so bad for him. He's officially in the boat of, right, there are guys who don't win because on Sundays they just sort of fall apart. And then there are guys that just always find a way to get beat by somebody. And Tony Finau just keeps getting beat by somebody, even when he had the best round of the day. It's just, a lot of times he's, 1 or 2 under in the final round, but some guy around him was 6 under, and, Tony needs to go birdie to even make, things interesting at the end of a tournament. He's not able to do it. He shot 64 at Riviera, and still somebody else had to go and beat him. I feel so bad for him, and I really thought it was going to happen, and we keep finding ways for Tony Finau not to win golf tournaments, and I'm officially sad. Like, I was sad when Max Homa won. And Max Homa was one of, if Tony Finau is the most likable guy on tour, Max Homa is like second or third. Like, he's just as high up there. So big shouts to Max Homa for getting it done. But I was like actually sad after Tony Finau lost yet again. But he's my loser. Racking in the money, another second place. He's making dough out there on tour. But he at this point, we're just trying to get a win, another win under that guy's belt, and he was so close yesterday. And
yeah, I'm looking at his results here and seeing how he finished. Right, he finished second 2 times in a row. He's finished top 5 4 out of the last 5 events that he's been in. He's finished top 8 5 of the last 6 events. Like, he's so close.
Oh, and I believe if you're looking at his PGA Tour profile, that he also had a second place finish out in Saudi Arabia. So he's actually finished second 3 straight tournaments. And,
okay.
He still can't seem to. He's so close. Yet
Does he have how many wins does he have?
He has 1. He won in Puerto Rico back in 2016, I think. But that's it. He's now 31. He's been a pro since he was 17, and I think he has wins at other levels. And I think he has a Web.com tour, Corn Ferry Tour now win, but I'm not positive about that. But so good. He's so good. He just can't catch a break on a Sunday. He's now all the way up to. Let's see. He's now all the way up to 13th in the official World Golf Rankings, but we just can't get that guy. Can't get that guy a win. Anything else, John?
I
Huh?
don't think so.
Thank you for making us part of your day here at 110 Daily. We'll be back on Friday unless something that we don't know is going to happens and we need to come and talk about it. But if that doesn't happen, we'll be back on Friday. Thanks so much for making us part of your day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you on Friday.